A big decision made today. Some high school sports have been given the go-ahead for the upcoming fall season. Good Wednesday evening, everyone. Welcome to Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano. 3 sports, including football, however, will have to wait till next year to start their seasons. Western Mass News reporter Sarah Gurnelli spoke with local athletes about these new guidelines during the pandemic, and she joins us now live to explain. Sarah?
Chris, as you can imagine, these student athletes are full of mixed emotions, but one thing is for certain, they're definitely excited to start the season in the fall. Gabrielle Bartolome is like many other student athletes who is passionate about playing sports. She loves basketball and soccer.
Playing sports it's a time when we can all work towards a common goal, even if we're not in the same classes or you're not friends. And I feel like it allows kids to build specific characteristics that are important, like perseverance and teamwork.
On Wednesday, the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association Board of Directors approved the recommendation from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and the MIAA COVID-19 Task Force to allow low-risk sports like soccer to go forward starting on September 18th.
It's exciting to hear that we'll be able to play, hopefully, but I think it all depends on the modifications, because I think the modifications are obviously good to keep us all healthy and safe, but if there's too many modifications, it puts the sport's integrity at risk. And I feel like at that point, if it's no longer the sport that we love, it might be better to cancel.
But sports that are considered high risk, that's football, cheerleading, and unified basketball, will be pushed back to what's being called a floating season, or fall season 2. The MIAA says that season would start in February, which coincides with the current winter sports season. Elliot DeGray spoke on the phone with Western Mass News. He's heading into his junior year in Chicopee, where he plays both basketball and football.
I don't think I'd be able to be on both rosters, for both teams.
He says if he has to choose one sport over the other, he will pick football.
My teammates and me, we just want to play football. Football is what brings us together. It gives us something to look forward to, something to work hard for, something to keep our grades up for.
Now, although these high-risk sports can't play in the fall, they are allowed to practice as long as they have safety precautions in place. For Western Mass News, I'm Sarah Gurnelli.
Sarah, thanks. Earlier this week, we told you about how the state has selected a design firm to create a renovation blueprint for the Holyoke Soldiers' Home. The state has ordered a study of the home after 76 residents there died testing positive for COVID-19. A coalition sounding the alarm about living conditions in the home is now voicing their concerns about the design and planning process. Western Mass News reporter Audrey Russo is live for us with more. Audrey?
Renovation designs for the home must be largely completed before April 15th of next year. State officials say things could change afterwards depending on input from the federal VA. Now, I spoke with Paul Barabani, a former superintendent of the home. He says he wants his input and the community input to be considered.
We've dealt with Payette when the 2012 plan was developed.
Paul Barabani was superintendent of the Holyoke Soldiers' Home 8 years ago when he says the Payette architecture firm designed a renovation and construction project that never came to fruition. Barabani, who represents a coalition of advocates for the home, says he's glad the familiar Payette was selected to design a new renovation project to improve the facility ravaged by COVID-19. According to the state, the designs must be completed by April 15th, 2021, to be eligible for federal funds through the VA. The project must also go through a certified study from the state to get Massachusetts dollars. State officials tell Western Mass News the 2012 design, previously championed by Barabani, was not approved. Barabani says in 2020, he's still waiting for the state to ask for the community's input in the design.
That should be at the beginning, before they develop any plans, before they modify. Otherwise, you'd have to modify what they've already begun.
In light of the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, Barabani is pushing for more change changes than proposed in 2012. He says he wants to see 250 beds, private bathrooms, and showers for residents, and adult day health care. His biggest concern is that any project not adding new buildings to the campus could reduce the number of veterans able to live at the home.
If in fact they attempt to constrain the construction to the existing building, that could amount in maybe a 50% reduction in the number of veterans that could be served.
I reached out to state officials to see when they're going to have any kind of community input forum. They tell me that it'll be sometime in the fall. They couldn't give me a more specific time frame, but they said that it's likely not going to be in person due to the COVID-19 restrictions around public gatherings. Reporting live, Audrey Russo for Western Mass News.
Audrey, thank you for that live report. New at 6, Springfield leaders alongside staff from Mercy Medical Center honored those who've passed away this year, including those taken by COVID-19. Springfield Mayor Dominic Sarno presented a proclamation declaring Wednesday, August 19th as World Humanitarian Day in the city of Springfield. And this year's theme was Real Life Heroes. For one staff member, there was an immediate emergency case that came to mind that she shared.
There was a young man who had overdosed that was brought into the department with CPR already in progress. And although we tried to resuscitate him, he ultimately passed away. Shortly after, his father arrived and presented to the bedside and fell on his son's chest and began weeping. And in that moment, he immediately transitioned from a patient to a person in my eyes, and it really touched me deeply.
Staff members added every patient is part of the Mercy family and is treated with dignity and respect. And for more coverage on the coronavirus emergency as it develops, log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app. New information out of the Department of Public Health tonight. The flu vaccine will be required for all students in the state this year. All children 6 months of age and older who are attending state child care, preschool, grades K through 12, and colleges and universities must receive the vaccine. Children must receive the immunization by December 31st unless a medical or religious exemption is provided. A call for action after the arrest of a repeat violent offender in Springfield. Springfield Police Department and Hampden County DA calling for an immediate dangerousness hearing after picking up a 33-year-old suspect on assault and battery with a dangerous weapon charge. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis joins us live outside Hampden County Courthouse with more on this story. Leon?
Chris, after Springfield police arrested Derek Lopez, a district court clerk released him on a $5,000 cash bail. He was back on the streets within 8 hours. Springfield police tell Western Mass News 33-year-old Derek Lopez has been arrested 16 times since he turned 18. 4 of the times were on gun charges. Now, both Springfield Police and the Hampton District Attorney's Office are trying to put a stop to this repeat offender reoffending in the community.
This individual was let out on a low bail to possibly re-victimize. We wanted him held. We're pushing forward with the District Attorney's Office to get a dangerousness hearing.
Springfield police records show Lopez has been arraigned 60 times as an adult and has a pending heroin trafficking case as well. Springfield Police Public Information Officer Ryan Walsh says a dangerousness hearing will keep him behind bars for the time being.
For certain offenses, in this case, a clerk can set a bail. In this case, he paid a $5,000 bail. We're saying this individual is dangerous to the community, so we're asking for a dangerousness hearing, which would hold him without the right to bail for up to 90 days.
Walsh says Lopez is an example of what needs to change in the court system when it comes to repeat violent offenders.
This isn't specific to Mr. Lopez. This happens over and over again. There's individuals who are committing violent felonies who are repeat violent offenders that are giving low or no bails and back on the streets within hours.
There's no word when a dangerousness hearing might be held at this point. Live in Springfield, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
Leon, thank you for that live report. And let's take a look at the weather. Let's turn things over to First Warning meteorologist Janna Brown. Janna, some clouds behind you, and We got a drumming of rain here at the station about an hour or so ago.
Yeah, it was very quick, Chris. That's the good thing. But it brought some beneficial rain to many folks, actually. Jack, who took this picture behind me from Chicopee earlier, picked up around 3/10 of an inch of rain. And you can clearly see that rain shaft where it almost looks like you take a paintbrush from the cloud and push it all the way down to the ground. So that right there is the rain. And then over here was the partial clearing. So it came through in a hurry, and it looks like it's now gone. We've got quiet conditions for just about everybody. There's a couple showers right here along the border. And as you head out onto the Mass Pike into Worcester County, more unsettled the farther east you go. So this whole line is pushing off to the east, and patchy clouds continue to gradually diminish out there this evening. Skies turning mostly clear by sunset. We should have some pretty skies out there, I think, tonight. We're at 69 degrees currently in Springfield. Dew point has dropped back to 60. It did jump a little bit with that rain, and we continue to turn less humid throughout the evening as well. Temperatures are hovering close to 70 just about everywhere at this hour. And looking at the dew points, they are on the moderate side, especially right here across the valley. But again, that is going to be lowering as we get this second shot of very dry and refreshing air for tonight and tomorrow. So by 7 p.m., skies are turning sunny for many folks. We're dropping back into the 60s very quickly this evening, and skies will stay clear overnight with wind becoming light to calm. With that, temperatures could get chilly, actually dropping into the upper 40s for a few spots to lower and middle 50s. Similar to last night, I think maybe 1 or 2 degrees cooler than what you had early this morning. A nice morning to have coffee outside. I know Beth Ward posted a picture this morning. She was out there with a blanket at 5:30 in the morning. I think you'll probably need a sweatshirt or a blanket tomorrow morning as well. But we warm up fast. By 10 a.m., we're back to 70. We've got plenty of sunshine that continues into the afternoon with highs approaching near 80. Very low humidity, but that changes in a big way by the weekend. Heat and humidity both on the rise.